Hi Simple Suppers families, my name is Ashley and I'm a graduate student helping with the Simple Suppers program at OSU. And I am going to show you how to make the Fiesta Skillet dinner with fresh fruits and veggies. So before you begin, make sure you gather all your ingredients. You'll need frozen corn, a can of Mexican styled tomatoes, chili powder, black beans, chicken, instant brown rice, cheddar cheese, blueberries, strawberries, banana, apple, and then for your vegetables, a green bell pepper, cucumber, and then carrots. So I'm going to move all of this to the side, and I'm first going to start with chopping up all my fruit and vegetables, because then that way it's done and I can throw it into the refrigerator and not worry about it while I'm cooking. I went ahead and I pre-washed all of the fruits and vegetables, and I even went ahead and peeled the carrot. That's something just do before you start. So these are all washed. I'm going to take one of my extra bowls and I'm just going to put in my blueberries because those are already washed and you don't need to cut them. And then I'm going to cut up my strawberries and my apple. And then I'll use this for my garbage. Put that in there. Put that to the side. Apples can be tricky, so I normally start with going down the center and put it on the flat side, so the side that you went through, flat on the bottom, and then I just run my knife straight through. No need for fancy slices. Switch that. And then to make sure that the core is out of the apple, I just look for the slices that have core on them and I just slice it right off. So for the vegetables, I'm going to start with the bell pepper. Similar to the apple, I'm just going to slice off a part of it and then create a flat edge and then just go around. And then I'll just cut slices, and remembering to try to keep my fingers tucked away from the blade so that I don't cut myself. I have another bowl, just put that in there. They smell really good. Okay. Then I'll cut up my cucumber. You can peel some of the skin off. I like the skin on, so I'm just going to leave the skin on. And then to make it easier, I'll cut it in half like this, and then I'll carefully run my knife straight down the middle, and that gives it a flat edge, so then it's easier to cut. And I'll just slice through it. And then next I'm going to start cutting the carrots. So I always like to cut the top and the bottom off out of habit. We'll cut these into sticks, so I'll just run my knife down. And then carrots are kind of hard to cut, so I like to put my thumb down so that it's parallel with the carrot, and then I just place my knife and try not to cut myself. Now that I'm done cutting my vegetables and my fruit, I'm going to put them in the refrigerator to keep them at the correct temperature. And then when I'm ready to serve, I'll bring them back out, and that way they stay safe at the right temperature. So I'm just going to put these in the refrigerator, and then I'll start with my chicken. Okay, now I'm going to start cutting up my chicken. For this recipe, it calls for 2/3 of a cup of diced chicken. So I'm going to take my chicken and just carefully open it. I'm going to use the same cutting board. I'll just kind of flip it just to be on the safe side. But you want to make sure when you're cutting anything with raw meat that the cutting board that you do use, if you use it, that you have to wash it and the knife before you cut anything else on it. So after this, I won't have to use my cutting board, so I don't have to worry about washing it and then cutting vegetables on it. So we're good there. But I'm just going to carefully open up this package. Just take my knife, pop a hole in, and then I'll take out one breast for right now. So there's not a lot of fat on these, so we don't need to trim them. But I'll just run my knife through, trying to make bite-sized pieces. So I have a 2/3 measuring cup. I'll just put my chicken in there. Yeah, looks about right. So now that I have my chicken, I'm just going to leave it in here until I'm ready to cook it. That way it's not getting anywhere else. I'll leave it on the cutting board and go wash my hands, because I'm going to start touching other things like the cans and then start cooking, and I want to make sure that I have clean hands and not do any cross-contamination. Okay, now I'm going to make the rice. I have instant rice, and so I'm just going to follow the directions. This is about a cup of rice, so I'm going to add that to my pot, and then this is a cup of water. Add that. Put these up here so they're out of the way, and then I just like to give it a little shake. Nice. Okay, so now it's coming to a boil. I'm just going to put on the lid, and then I'm going to reduce the heat so the rice is simmering. And then I'll let it cook for about 10 minutes, and then once it's done cooking, I can then add it to my chicken and vegetable mixture that I'll be making. But once it's done cooking, it can just sit in the pot and wait. Now that my rice is cooking, I'm going to start cooking my chicken. So I have a pan here, and it's heated up, so I'm just going to put in the chicken that I had diced earlier. I'm going to take my little spatula, and I'm just going to spread it out in my pan. I'm just going to let it cook. And then I'll just make sure to move it around and flip it just so that all the sides get cooked and it cooks evenly. Okay, now it looks like the chicken is pretty much complete, and I'm just going to go and take the temperature. It should get up to 165, so just going to scoop up some of this chicken. And then we're struggling. Okay. Yes, it's at 165. Perfect. So now I'm going to add in all my other ingredients. So just put this over here. We have a cup of frozen corn. We have 1 can of low sodium black beans. A little mix. Then we have 1 can of Mexican style tomatoes. Just pull this lid back a little more. Be careful not to cut myself. Dump it all in. Excellent. And now we're going to add a tablespoon and a half of chili powder. Okay, now I'm just going to measure it over this, just to make sure I'm not spilling everywhere. And then half. Where am I? Okay. Alright, I'm just going to mix it around. And get everything coated in the seasoning. So now I have my rice. I'm just going to pop the lid off and I'm going to just put it all into this one pan. So this is that cooked rice. I'm just going to mix it all in there. Try to get as much out of the pan as possible. Hopefully none of it's stuck to the bottom. Okay. And then we're just going to mix this up. And then we're just going to let it cook for until it's heated all the way through and any of the extra liquid is absorbed, and then we'll top with some shredded cheese. So it looks pretty much done. Everything looks absorbed. So I'm just going to go ahead and top with some shredded cheddar cheese right into the skillet. Nice and melty. Alright, and now this is what the final plates of the Fiesta skillet with fruits and veggie looks like for the adult and for the child.